Hello, and welcome to season 4 of the State of Healthcare podcast. I can't believe it's actually season 4. I feel like we've just gotten started, and to be honest, we are just barely scratching the surface of so many issues in healthcare, or just even things that I feel like people should know about. This season, we are talking about autoimmune disorders, the not so hidden epidemic. For so long, these have been labeled a diagnosis of exclusion, right? So many people were seen as crazy, or they just, were whining about these things that people were like, oh, just push through it. But I feel like now we are starting to realize that so many more people have this, whether we're better at diagnosing or more people are having these particular disorders occurring. It could be a combo. That's what we're going to discuss and try to look into this season. So if you've ever felt like you have this cluster of symptoms, or you don't know what's going on, or you feel like your body is even fighting itself, feel free to tune in. This is kind of a learning process. It's learning how to modulate your flares, learning what that is, where can you get help. So come with me on this journey. Autoimmune disorders, the not so hidden epidemic. Welcome back to another episode of the State of Healthcare podcast. We are continuing our discussion of autoimmune, and we are recording some stories here again as we try to get information, and also a little bit to let people know that they're not alone. So a lot of times people have symptoms and you think a lot of it's in your head. You're often told it's in your head. So we have Dani here to share her story. Yeah. And again, I will let you kind of take it through your story.
All right. So I started working with you 18 months ago.
Yeah.
We had a year like Christmas.
Yeah. I know. We had our anniversary at Christmas time. It was good.
This is so fun. But before that, I've had fibromyalgia most of my life. I had my first flare when I was 20. And didn't get a formal diagnosis after I had my son, so he's 4, so I was like into my 30s by then. And I remember when I had my first flare, I told my mom, because she has a bunch of autoimmune disorders, and I was like, is this what it feels like? And she was like, yeah. So I went to her doctor, and he was like, well, if you have fibromyalgia, like exercise helps. So like, just make sure you're doing that. And I was like, okay, that's it.
Thank you.
I remember like, do you want to like, is there like a test you want to run? Oh, there's not a test, we could run for it. I'm like, okay, but he had no questions, no follow-ups, no, do you hurt here? Does it do this?
Right.
It's going on just exercise more.
Okay.
But
or no, even like referral. Like I think
just like, and he'd been treating my mom who has multiple autoimmune disorders for years. So I'm like, my mom,
right?
There's like a like genetic condition, yeah. And he was just like, if you work out and more and it helps, then like we could probably say that's what it is. But like that's wow. So I was like super not impressed, right? But because I work in the body work industry, I've been a massage therapist since I was 18. I knew that response is super common, especially for women with autoimmune conditions. And you're like saying it's about, we think it's about 10 years to actually get a diagnosis. Yeah, 10 or 12 years is what I was told in school. I don't know how accurate that is anymore. So I was like, okay, so I'm in my beginning 10 years. Like, I had to get like pushed off a few times first, I guess. It's a rite of passage. So I was already doing things that helped, like Epsom salt baths and stretching and all these things. And so I just was kind of like managing it. Right. Until I had my kiddo. So I was in my early 30s when I had him. And as with a newborn, you get no sleep, you're stressed, your world is turned upside down. And I was having a fibro flare like every day. Oh wow. And I work kind of an intense job, so I go to work, I would be flaring at work, and I'd go home and I'm not sleeping. And so I went to a doctor, and it's actually the first time I saw a female provider as a PCP. Right. And I was also battling postpartum depression really bad at the same time too. And so I was getting like a rash on my face. And so we're like, is it lupus? Because that butterfly rash is really like a signature piece for lupus. And she was like, well, something's happening. I was like, thank heavens
that you're acknowledging that.
And so she's like, she ran ANA panel, came back normal. She goes, okay, well, since it's not lupus, it's fibromyalgia. And she's like, take this medication. If this helps, then that'll confirm that you have it. And it was amitriptyline, and it helped tremendously. I'm from flaring every single day to like once or twice a week. And I got that kind of under control. Got the postpartum depression under control for a few years. And then last year, I double impinged both my shoulders while working. And which is what I was like, I know someone who can. I'm like, I knew because I've been in the medical system, both my parents are chronically ill and I have some chronic conditions that if you go and get PT or a prescription for PT, you get like 6 sessions or 8 sessions. And I know everything's connected and 8 sessions is just never enough. And I know as you work on the body, things shift and change, problems shift and change. And so I was like, screw it. I'm like, I can't go through the system because it's just going to fail me. And I need my body. I'm a massage therapist. I'm a single mom now. Like I can't lose my career, can't lose my income or whatever. So luckily you're my aunt. So I reached out and you saw me like the day after Christmas. I was like, are you working? Tomorrow?
Always, right? Like always.
I was like, I don't know if you're working over Christmas break, but you're like, this is the day after work. I'm like, yes, please. Perfect. So as you've been working on me, so I hurt one shoulder, then I was using the other one too much, and I hurt my other one. As those were kind of resolving, I partially dislocated my knee at work.
Yes.
And during all of this, my fibromyalgia flares were getting worse again, like it was when my son was first born, which was about 4 or 5 years ago. And so
I promise we're not trying to like milk the PT. Like, you know what?
No, I love please go to PT. But I kept hurting things, and I felt like I came on one day and I was like, Tracy, I just feel like I'm falling apart. Like I'm doing what you're saying. I'm taking you like I'm doing the regimen, and I'm flaring all the time. I'm getting new weird symptoms, and I was like, Tracy, I just felt like you're falling apart. And you're like, you might need to like look into like autoimmune. And I was like, I know I have one. Like I have fibromyalgia. And you're like, okay, well, I think you should track your symptoms and you should go see a doctor. And so you wrote me a note, and I used chat to kind of like organize my symptoms, because if I think it's something, then I kind of like keyhole. And I did, like, so I was getting that flare on that rash on my face again. I was having flares every day I worked, lightheaded, dizzy. I was having lots of like heart symptoms. So like if I would lay down, like my heart would like skip a beat, or like would do like 3 really fast ones. I was losing my breath all the time, and these were kind of like sporadic, and I wasn't really like stringing them all together at first, but I thought lupus, because again, I was getting this super bright rash on my face, and I was in a lot more pain, and my muscles hurt, my joints hurt. My PCP was like, these are weird.
You're like, yeah.
She's like, this is out of my scope. Send you to a rheumatologist. So I go to a rheumatologist. And
which is better than telling you to exercise.
Yes. Also another female provider. So after the first one I saw after my son, I was like, if I can see a female practitioner, like I'm not seeing men anymore. I'm just so tired of looking at a man and having him look at me, and I'm in a curvier plus size body. And so they're like, it's because you're overweight, work out more. Like that's the answer I always get, even though my blood work is fine. I work a physical job. Like I'm not sitting all day. So she's like, yeah, these are weird. I don't know what this is. Off I go.
Yes.
And it was the first time I sat across from a provider, and I was like,
oh yeah, I remember this.
I was so worried. But the pros of that is they have all the newest information. So immediately so my hands were changing colors when I was working. Like if I brushed them, they would kind of like blanch and go white. At the end of my shifts, they were like super bright red. So just like some weird things. And so, I'm telling him this. I told him about the hypermobility. He asked those questions, and he was like, okay, well, like we'll run the blood work for autoimmune, because it could be a connective tissue disorder. It could be lupus. It could be 1,000 things. He's like, but I also want to do an autonomic nerve study. And I was like, no, I don't have that. Like my dad has that. My dad's pretty sick guy. And he has a more severe version. So he has gastroparesis, neuropathy. And so like, I'm familiar with autonomic nerve stuff. And I'm like,
which I may have you define.
Autonomic nerve.
Yeah, for people who don't know what that is.
So autonomic nerve is your nerves. You have systems that run automatically in your body, and your nerves are the signal givers to those. So like your autonomic nerve system runs your lungs, your heart, your brain, nerves in your skin, nerves in your muscles. So like gastroparesis is something my dad has, and so his stomach doesn't empty routinely as it should. So food sits in his stomach, and that's painful and causes other problems. Because he's a diabetic, so that can mess with his blood sugar. So there's foods you do eat and don't eat. And so his stomach not dumping like it should is the autonomic nerve system failing.
Right. So these systems that you would expect to just run
in most
are not
normal bodies. They're like workhorses. It just like, your stomach just dumps. The nerves in your feet just work.
Right.
So these are automated nerve systems that just function normally and run in your, and so I was familiar enough with that. I was like, no. I don't have that.
Right.
And I was like, well, how about if all of my blood work comes back, then I'll do it.
Right.
And he was like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then we all have portals for our blood work on our phones now, and I'm medically-ish savvy, and what I don't know, Google knows.
Right.
Everything's coming back.
Sometimes, except what's going on with your neck.
Sure. And so I was like following my blood work coming back, and I'm like, it's nothing again.
Right.
Which is something I've dealt with a lot in my life. I've gone to doctors for problems, and like, oh,
everything's normal.
Everything's normal.
Right.
So I called the rheumatologist. I'm like, at this point, I just want answers.
Yeah.
I'm sick every day. I'm laying on the couch if I'm not working. I have a very active 4-year-old who's not tolerating me not feeling well. And so I was like, fine, I'll do your nerve study. And I go and I get a call like 2 days later, and I brought back in, and it's dysautonomia, which is the dysfunction of your automated nerve systems.
Right.
So dysautonomia, again, is kind of like an umbrella term. And I have orthostatic intolerance, which is like similar to POTS. So my automated nerve system has a hard time regulating my like blood flow. So like when I lay down, my body has a hard time adjusting to being from upright to laying down, which is why I don't, my heart will like skip a beat or will like triple beat, because it's adjusting to the shift in blood flow.
Where things normally your body was like,
okay, we're laying down or we're sitting up, or if like I move too fast or spin around my massage table too fast, I can get lightheaded and things like that. So, and my hands changing color was those automated nerves that regulate blood flow in your skin and hands weren't contracting and releasing blood at the right time. So I have blood pooling problems. So like when my hands were red, too much blood in my hands. And so when I brush it, that moves the blood so it looks blanched, and then eventually it like refills. So like all of these problems, harmless, but
together
when I'm dysregulated and it's bad enough, I feel. And so when my body is that stressed from my dysautonomia symptoms being mismanaged, it triggers my fibromyalgia symptoms, because my body is just taxed and stressed and worn out. So it's struggling to keep my blood. So when I work for 12 hours a day, all the blood ends up in my legs. So when I sit and eat, my body works too hard to get blood back up. So which is what causes my face to flush and all of these things. And I feel dizzy. Anyways, so
I think it's good to describe that, because I do have other patients with similar things, and they're like, why is this, and why am I feeling this, and I have a palpitation.
Like, I'm in my 30s. I can't be having a cardiac event.
Yes. Right.
But it's happening. And so like looking back, lots of things affect it, and I probably had it most of my life. It takes almost like a traumatic physical event to like set it off.
Right.
Often for women, a lot of women are diagnosed with this in their 30s or 40s, often after a baby.
Right.
Because that's such a hard thing on your system. So,
but then also the aftercare of the baby.
It takes your body like about 2 years to actually recover from having a baby.
Right.
And because I was also battling like postpartum depression and other things, I think it just took my body longer to like catch up and recover. So that was like the big diagnosis. How
did they test you for it? What was that?
It was super easy test. It was 4 blood pressure cuffs.
Okay.
Not every, there's more intense ones where you're like on a tilt table and stuff. But this is kind of like the quick and easy one.
Okay.
And a lot of rheumatologists do the testing because you come in with weird symptoms.
Right.
And so that's where they send you.
Right.
They don't treat it, but usually they're the first line of like catching it, because they're like, oh, this isn't fitting because most of that stuff is diagnosed to some regard with blood work for rheumatology.
Right.
And so they're like, well, your blood work is fine, but clearly you're not fine.
Right.
And so it was just 4 blood pressure cuffs. It took 10 minutes.
Okay.
And they were, I mean, the tightest blood pressure cuffs I've ever felt. And so they had different places in my arms, upper arm, forearm, my ankle. They did one on my foot.
Okay.
They had one wrapped around my toe, and she'd like move them, run a test, shift them, run a test. And I had my ADHD 4-year-old in the room, so it probably took a little bit longer.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, that's not terrible.
Well, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
At least you didn't have to deal with the tilt table, which could set off.
No, right. And so I actually just had a client on my table this week, also hypermobile, actually has POTS, has EDS.
Right.
And the event that triggered all this, where she passed out.
No.
She just gone. So I've never like passed out. I get air hunger a lot, which is so there's not enough like blood in my lungs, so I feel like I'm kind of gasping, like you feel out of breath.
Yeah.
But you're fine.
Right. Okay.
So I feel like I'm learning.
Air hunger is a fun term.
It is. And I was because me and Google and chat over here. I'm like, what is happening? So I keep running into like new symptoms, doing new things. So I feel like, and I feel this too, like I feel like I'm brand new in my body with the hypermobility, which I've probably had my whole life, but now that it's like,
which we will talk about shortly,
right, falling apart. And now with the dysautonomia, I feel like I'm in a new body, learning new things constantly. Like I went to the Ren Fair, out in the sun and the heat all day. Dysautonomia bodies also have a really hard time regulating heat and cold. So my heart rate usually goes up. I'm overheated. I get a little foggy. So the thing that's taught me the most is enough electrolytes. So I drink like liquid IVs and Propels. I drink 2 of those a day. So dysautonomia bodies need more salt and sodium and protein and foods in other bodies.
Right.
So
which was part of, because for you had switched to a low sodium diet.
Yes. That was also part of the trigger. So I live with my best friend and she was put on a low sodium diet probably 2 years ago. And I do the bulk of the cooking. She's cooking and I love it. Easy. She does the dishes, love it.
Right.
So the whole household now just kind of eats lower sodium. And again, because I'm in a plus size bigger body, I'm like that. Oh, I'm sure that'll help.
Right.
Somewhere.
Not realizing it was actually triggering.
Not realizing that 2 of my conditions need more salt. And so that was contributing to all of these symptoms getting worse.
Right.
Not enough French fries.
Yes. You know what? You're like, look, whatever it takes.
So it's weird to have a doctor, like literally when I got I went in for my results, he's like, so like probably more sodium that usually helps. So he's like, an excuse to eat French fries.
I'm like, well then.
It's like, don't gotta tell me twice. So, but I keep running into, so being out in the heat all day physically slowed me down. And I was in Disneyland with my friends like the weekend before that, and I got off Space Mountain. I had that air hunger.
Okay.
So usually I'm pretty motion sick, so my friends are kind of like, how'd you do? You doing okay? And I'm like, actually, like I'm having a hard time breathing. And because it happens when I'm at work, it happened, so this is a symptom I'm used to. I know what it is now. Right. And I was like, I need a Powerade and I need to lay down.
Right.
The girls isn't really up to, all the things that's happening. She was like, what? It's like, just leave me on this. I just need to lay down for a little bit.
On this bench, drinking my Powerade.
Put my feet up and just leave me here in this corner.
Right.
And I'm going to drink my drink and you guys can like go do something else.
Right.
I mean, they were dolls. I'm like, we'll stay. Like, no. Like, go ride Small World or something. Like, I'm going to be down for 20 minutes. But just laying on a bench.
But I mean, also, again, it's like kind of knowing, right? Like planning, trying to have the things, all that kind of stuff.
So now, what I drink in a normal day for sodium isn't enough for when I'm in Disneyland.
Right.
And the amount of sodium I'm consuming feels like so much.
Right.
And so again, it's like my body's new and I'm learning. Like the friend I was with at the Ren Fair, they're like, what do you need? What do you need? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't done a day out in the heat since I've been like this flared and I've been diagnosed. Like this is almost like a brand new experience for me.
Right.
Which feels so weird to say that in my 30s. I mean, I'm just learning my body.
Right.
But my body's doing stuff now that it hasn't always done.
And some autoimmune, I feel, is kind of like hiding under the surface.
Yeah.
And then it's waiting for that cathartic event to just pick off those symptoms.
Right. So I was kind of like a ticking time bomb. And then I had enough big physical stressors that my body was like, okay, I can't cope anymore.
Right.
So like hypermobility flared, dysautonomia flared, fibromyalgia flared. And so I'm relearning my limitations or what I can. And, you know, weird for the first time getting off Space Mountain, not feeling dizzy, getting off Space Mountain and feeling
I can't breathe and I need things. Yeah.
And like, I knew what it was, so I wasn't panicked. But when I told her, like, you can't breathe, I'm like, I'm having a hard time catching my breath.
Right.
Like, I know I can breathe.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if the force of being spun around on the ride sent my blood everywhere else out of my core.
It's not coming back to where it.
And my body has a hard time pulling blood back to where it needs to be. I just need a Powerade. I need to lay down.
No, and I think that's perfect. Again, asking for what you need and being okay with like, because I think sometimes people think like a lot of people would have to power through, right?
Well, and so when I was, you know, I knew I was coming to talk to you about this, and I was talking to my friend about last night, and I'm like, so one of the things I feel like I'm really butting up against is grief, because my life is so different. Going to Disneyland, powering through being like motion sick is normal, and I'm like, if I keep going and if I don't stop, I will be screwed.
Right.
And then I will be in a wheelchair leaving Disneyland.
Yeah.
As opposed to just sitting for a minute. But like, so there is a little bit of like an undercurrent of grief.
For what you could.
Right.
Where your body could be.
Right. And it doesn't mean that I won't eventually get to a place where I won't have to stop and lay down. But I think sometimes we're so focused on like trying to, and not that I'm not positive. Like, I feel like I work very hard. I have grit and spades and like, I'll do the routine, I'll do whatever, like I'll figure it out. But to act like it doesn't affect on that level too.
Yeah.
But what's great is that you can feel two things at once. You can be having fun at Disneyland and grief that you have to lay down power.
Yeah, I mean, that's true though. And the thing is I think it's interesting. I was having a conversation with a patient earlier that it's okay to cry about this stuff, right? Like I help patients cry frequently, and I don't know if it could be my terrible PC or it's just
I've cried on your table. I was like, I feel like all I do is come in injured.
But again, it's part of the process, right? Of being like, I wanted this life.
Right.
Here's what I've got. I'll figure it out. But I wanted this.
Right. I grew up being fairly sporty. I played soccer for 14 years. I weightlifted in high school. Like I was a pretty athletic, sporty person. I had bad knees and I had a surgery, and so they told me to do less. So I did less. And then as my fibromyalgia kind of got worse, I just was like, I need to be more careful with my body, so I'll do less.
Right.
And then then it turns out that maybe doing less was not the right thing. Answer. So it's interesting to kind of like, it's not this condition, it's these conditions.
Right.
And what helps this is the opposite of what I was told to do this.
Right.
And so there's some mental gymnastics.
Yeah. And probably again frustration, right? If you're like, well, why couldn't we have caught this then?
Right.
Like the hypermobility.
Oh, that one. I came into you talking about for weeks. I'm like, I don't understand. I've seen like 3 orthopedic surgeons for my knees. I've been in PT several times. Like, I've had funky injuries half my life. And I came in and I told you a bunch of them. And I've had doctors throw x-rays up on their life where like, we can't figure out why your ankle's not broken.
Right.
You have a 4-degree sprain on both sides of your ankle. And I've had 2 of my coworkers look at this and we don't know why your bone's not broken.
Right.
And I'm like, why didn't anyone go,
maybe you're
hypermobile?
Yeah.
But I was like 22.
Yeah.
So dysautonomia is a new field of study. It's been formalized for about 10 or 15 years.
Right.
So finding specialists is new, medications brand new. It's considered a new field of study.
When you said the rheumatologist does not treat that, right? So
they're the first line of diagnostic because weirdness is happening. That's where you're kind of sent. Yeah. They're like, you don't match our weird. So often the testing is there.
Okay.
And then they send you to a neurologist or a cardiologist that does dysautonomia.
Okay. So that's kind of where you manage.
Right. Okay. Have I done either of those yet? No, because I got tired of chasing it down.
Right.
And so I've been doing some lifestyle things that have been helping. I probably still need to do that. But
also, again, a big part of autoimmune is tracking your flares, right? Figuring out what
works, what doesn't work.
Having grace for yourself.
Right.
Being okay with being frustrated, but modulating.
Right. And part of like getting that information is super helpful because then I, did a lot of my own research. I'm doing a few lifestyle things that are helping, and I'm feeling significantly better. Right. But hopping from specialist to specialist to specialist to specialist,
it's draining.
It's draining, and I needed like a break, and I needed to feel better.
Right.
So that is my next step.
Okay. Did they refer you to a cardiologist or a neurologist?
He referred me. I love how doctors do this. Well, which would you prefer? I don't know. This is brand new to me.
Yes.
Like I had a doctor once go, well, which kind of anxiety meds do you want? We have like a beta blocker or whatever. I'm like,
you're the doctor.
I don't know.
You tell me. Yeah, I've had that happen also.
So I do have heart symptoms.
Right.
But I don't feel like yeah. So I picked neurology because I get dizziness and lightheadedness and like foggy. So they gave me a referral for a neurologist who does dysautonomia. But there's also a genetic component.
Yeah.
Both my parents have the bigger conditions of what some of my smaller conditions kind of like.
So I was like, I think it's your parents. I feel like they each gave you a little bit of.
I got a little bit of this. My mom has fibromyalgia, and I got that. She has Sjogren's. I don't have that. She has the chronic fatigue syndrome. So I have. From my autonomic nerve study, I also was diagnosed with small nerve fibrosis. So I get like burning, tingling, kind of numbness sensations, usually in my hands. I'm getting it in my shins. That's also part of your automated nerve systems. I glitch. I don't have like both my parents have the conditions where it's deteriorating their systems or they're dying or failing. And my system's just like, okay.
Right. Okay. Noted.
So I have I just have like the babier versions of their more chronic conditions. Neither one of them are gonna kill me, where my parents' conditions will eventually kill them.
Right.
And I glitch. So I just have a very sensitive nervous system. Fibromyalgia, the dysautonomia, the ADHD, and the hypermobility. There's a term for it I came across once. I should have looked it up, but I have a very sensitive nervous system. And that's what kind of causes all of these things. I always just picture Wreck-It Ralph when you say that. And I'm sorry. I was like, oh, I picture it. I see what's happening.
So I guess for my thing, do you have any advice for people or who are like, I'm having all this shit happen. What do I do?
Write it down. Even if you don't think it's a symptom, that's you don't have to use chat. You can use a journal, but that's really was the most helpful because like I would talk to them like, hey, chat, like I'm tracking my symptoms, and then I'd be like, I felt this today, this happened today, and even if it feels normal to me because it's been in my body for 10, 15 years, I wrote down, and it actually categorized circulatory symptoms, neurological symptoms, cardiac symptoms. And so when I went to talk to the baby rheumatologist,
he was helpful.
He was so helpful because the new providers have the newest medical research and the newest information.
Also, as terrible as it's going to sound, also not that.
Also, I'm just getting old.
Well, I just also feel like sometimes older practitioners with experience, but then also stereotypes.
They're like, yes, like the first provider I talked to who'd been training my mom, he was ancient. He looks like a dinosaur. I'm sure he was part of the belief that like fibromyalgia is not real and women just think they're in pain.
Right. It could be hysteria.
It could be hysteria.
It could be a hysterical.
And we laugh about it, but like that is still very much a bias that is very ingrained in the medical community. And so even though he was young and that bothered me, looking after all of it, I'm like, I'm glad I was with a younger provider because they're the most open-minded. They've read the most recent research.
They actually acknowledge that autoimmune disorders like that.
Yes. And he didn't bat an eye when I said I had fibromyalgia. He was like, okay.
And
I was like, oh, I want to sit here and prove it to you. And he was like, got it.
Yeah. So again, it's nothing against, because again, when you're out in the practice and you've got a lot of experience.
Right.
But also, unfortunately, what comes with that is
right.
some of the stereotypes and the things of like.
And I think in so many regards, not just medically, but like socially, women are taught not to believe their gut or their intuition. So like, just like all the diet journals we've all kept all of our whole life.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Keep a symptom journal.
Right.
And you don't have to use AI. I just found that because by the end of the day, I'm toast.
Right.
So I felt burning in my fingers today.
Right.
Or I'm super fatigued today.
Yeah, you just chatted.
And then it would ask me, okay, so this was a new symptom. Right. Sometimes it would ask me a question, I'd be like, oh, you're that too today. I didn't even think about that.
Right.
And then if you miss a day, that's fine. But I would like type in the date.
Right.
This is my symptom log for today.
Right.
It automatically was like, it subcategorized it. You can tell it to keep track of it however you want or not use AI at all. But I found that to be
helpful for you.
Super helpful. And then I tracked it for probably about a month. And then because I was in AI, I said, give me a symptom list by category, single page. I took your injury letter and that to my PCP.
Right.
And I also have ADHD. So like what I meant to say yesterday, I remember to say it today.
Right. No. So you can be like,
and maybe I'm so caught up on this, or because I'm juggling my child also with me in my appointments.
Yeah.
Is my attention pulled?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And then you leave and you didn't get.
And I'm like, oh, I forgot to tell them this most important part that my heart skips when I lay down.
Right. And a lot of times also depending on the doctors, they're in a hurry or they have so much.
So I love my deal right now. I love if I can have a female as my primary provider, I'm a happy girl.
Right. Yeah.
I know we can't always. Like I got in with the first rheumatologist I was referred to, and I was the only guy in the office. But I felt heard, and I feel like often when you finally get into specialties, you're listened to better. But yeah, I was like, oh, also my PT thinks I'm hypermobile, and he was like, okay, can you do this? And I was like, yeah. I showed him. He's like, okay, you're like a 7 out of 9, which is clinically relevant. Right. I was like, oh, throw that in there.
Right. Yeah. I would. So, and again, like I know last season was on women's health, but I always kind of go back because I was watching this thing on like all these women's insurance claims. Yes. They just kept like bugging because women actually had all these things wrong.
That we are not okay.
Right. But they kept being like, oh, it's just this. And they're literally like dying of cancer. Or they've got this and everything's getting thrown off because we haven't studied female bodies. So we don't know what menopause are. Yeah.
I'm a millennial, so I grew up on the internet. And I feel like a meme I've seen not just recently, but just like the whole time I've been on the internet is like hot girls have tummy problems. It's because we're not okay.
Right.
And those symptoms show up in our gut.
Yeah. And like
for so many reasons.
Right.
Mental health, autoimmune, whatever. Anyway.
I'm totally gonna steal that. I'm gonna be looking for this meme.
And so every time and I have GERD. I had and didn't respond to medication or prescription. And I now realize that's related to hypermobility.
Right.
And since I have clinically relevant, I was like, I put it together afterwards. Like, oh, that's why nothing helps my GERD.
Right.
It's because the hiatal hernia stuff.
And the other thing is the hard part is everyone just thinks it affects your joints.
Yes.
And nobody realizes all the systems in your bodies that actually get affected.
Right. So talking to the rheumatologist, he's like, all of this connects and makes sense.
Right.
He's like, you need to go. He's like, we don't treat this. Here's 8 people who treat it.
Right.
And it's funny. He's like, they're all in Scottsdale. I'm like, I don't care.
Right.
Where they are.
Right.
I'll buy a plane ticket.
And get those taken.
I'm like, my son's specialist is in Tucson. I got a car. I got gas. Off I go.
Right.
If there's someone who's going to listen to me, if there's someone who's going to believe me, I'll drive 45 minutes. I'll drive 2 hours. I don't care.
The hardest part is sometimes, and again, I think you've been able to use your insurance with this, which is nice.
Not with you, but everything else.
Yeah, I know.
But I left the system for PT because I know the system fails for body work.
Right.
So I left.
Which again, I love being a physical therapist, but unfortunately it usually does. It's an insurance dictated system that says you get this many visits. Well, you have to juggle 5 patients at the same time.
And I'm a massage therapist. So often people come to me after PT's failed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how many sessions are you allowed to have? 6?
Right. I know.
It took 18 years for this injury to manifest because you've been a pianist for 18 years.
Yeah.
They're going to fix your wrist problem
6 visits.
in 6 visits.
Right.
And then I'm like,
will do their homework and it'll go away magically.
Right. And again, so this conversation that I've had with clients, are you doing when I know they're in PT, are you doing your homework? No. Then it's not going to work.
Right.
You have to do my homework. You have to do their homework.
Right.
It's a lot of work to take care of yourself.
It is.
And it's exhausting.
Yeah.
But if you don't,
your body will tell you about it
again and again and again.
Yeah. And again, I've argued with therapists online because again, therapists will work for insurance companies, and I'm like, could you fix this person in 6 visits? And they're like, oh yeah. I'm like,
no.
When was the last time you actually worked on a patient?
Right. And I've been a massage therapist for almost 16 years, and people come in, well, can you fix this today?
How long did we get here?
That's one hit wonder, girl. I'd charge so much.
Right? I'd be so
so rich. I mean, sometimes am I lucky?
Yeah.
And I get just the right combo of things.
She provide relief.
But can I fix this today?
Yeah.
No. When did this start hurting?
Right.
How long did it take you to get here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, then,
No, and again, it's so funny because of all the soapboxy things, right? Where I'm like, they're like, this all happened. Can you take care of it? Because I got to do this tomorrow. And I'm like, what?
No.
I would love to.
And I'm confident enough as a bodywork practitioner that I'll just say no to people. I'm like, we got to lower your expectations. I'm not saying you're not going to leave here with relief. I'm not saying that you won't, like, something we do today will help. Will it help on the scale you want it to? But like, honestly, like you waited too long to come in.
Right. Yeah.
And that's one of my questions. Usually I have them on the table. Okay, it's your right shoulder. How long has this been bugging you before you came in?
Right.
And because Americans have this like hustle grind mentality, 6 months, a year, 2 years.
They're not seeing you until it's like, I literally can't use
I can't lift my arm anymore. And I'm like, I mean, I'll help, but like now you actually really need physical therapy.
And your recovery would have been faster had you
absolutely. Which is why when I first pinched my shoulder, I worked on myself for 6 weeks, and I was like, okay, if I can't fix it in 6 weeks, it's out of my scope.
Right. Which is why I was like, I will see you the day after Christmas.
I was like, so this is when I did it.
Yeah.
This is what I've done. And it's not getting better. Like, it's out of my scope.
Right.
And you're like, come on in.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I'm like, and again, even though, like, I know for you, even though self-care is exhausting, right? Mm-hmm. You work a job that's very physically demanding. Yes. You have a child. And then you're like, you know what I'd love to do? My shit. Right. Or do you even have a few minutes to yourself that's not dedicated to your PT?
I do self-care chronically.
Yes.
And that sounds like such a weird way to put it. Yeah. Chit-chatting with my best friend last night. My kid was finally asleep. And I had the Theracane up against back of the couch, working on my back. Mm-hmm. And if it's not that, I'm trying to learn French. So I'm watching Love is Blind France. And I'm rolling my legs out on my fascial balls. Right. On the floor. So I'm listening. It's the only I don't have enough hours in the day with the hours I work. I have a special needs toddler, and so like I can't just be like, hold on a minute, right? So often I'm getting a little bit less sleep because I'm doing my self-care after everyone's asleep. Right. I try to pair it with something that I like doing. If I'm rolling out my back, I'll read a book on my phone. If I'm working on my shoulders and I can sit upright, I'm watching the Love is Blind France. So I do try to incorporate. Yeah. I want to watch The West Wing. Right. Or I'm trying to learn French before I go. So I'm going to watch that while doing self-care. So it feels like I'm giving myself a little treat while doing the stuff I have to do. Because if I don't do it, man, the next day. Right. I'm feeling it. Right. And I spend the whole day going, I wish I just rolled out my back. Right. I wish I just whatever. So. No, I was like, and again, I like the phrase chronically, right? Because again, there's sometimes patients and they'll be like, well, I didn't do the things, and then it becomes like a guilt ball, and I'm like, just get back on the horse tomorrow, like do what you can, like, because again, if you don't, and then you just keep don't know where I heard this, but someone said if being hard on yourself would have worked, it would have worked by now. So like I do talk to my therapist, like between like my therapist, I'm like, I gotta talk to my therapist, or I have to talk to my the way I use both of you as crutches to get through my life right now. But I'm like, I don't know about that. I have to ask usually one of them before I do something new. Right. I was like, because one of them will have a thought. Right. But so if being hard on yourself worked, it would have worked right. Right. So if I miss a day, usually my mentality is like, I'm hard on myself the next month, but that's not gonna make my shoulder hurt less. Fix it. Or it's not gonna unstick my SI joint or whatever is the problem that day. I'm like, okay, well, I'll do it now. Yeah. So I guess some grace and just if your best yesterday was I can't do it, fine. And if your best today is a little bit, great.
Right.
And if today you're doing your self-care while watching The Love is Blind because you need some drama or whatever, like that's just a little bit every day. And that doesn't have to be the same little bit every day.
No, I love that. I'm stealing all these phrases, but well, I appreciate you sharing your story because again, I feel like we learned a lot, and there are a lot of people that I think are suffering the dysautonomia that don't realize it.
Now that I have this category of symptoms, I know what it covers. Not that I'm an expert, but I have other women on my table talking about these things. I'm like, you know what that kind of sounds like?
Right.
That sounds like dysautonomia.
Right.
Oh, I've been hot my whole life. If I'm cold, I'm freezing. If I'm outside, I'm melting. And I'm like, your body doesn't regulate temperature. That's a symptom of dysautonomia.
Right.
Also, I had to like practice how to say that.
Yes. Perfect.
But and then I'm like, I can't obviously diagnose that, but like a conversation with your medical provider, not a bad idea.
Right.
This is a new field. It's 10 or 15 years old. These are my symptoms. These are the symptoms of people I know who also have it.
Right.
It kind of falls in there. And I have a few people go, okay.
No, and I think that's good because I think it's drawing awareness to something that people would just be like, I have no idea what's going on. So I feel like I'm running into, and again, I'm like, are people just finally being more aware of what's going on, or is this happening more? So I think it's probably a little bit of both. But
I think we just know more. My son has neurodivergent, and I have ADHD. My mom has ADHD. So I'll be talking to my parents about something, and they're like, "Oh, you did that. Oh, I did that." It's the same condition.
Right.
Well, it wasn't a problem when I was a kid. It wasn't a problem when you were a kid. It's not a problem now.
Right. We're just like,
but we just know that this behavior
is
connected to this.
Right.
So I know some people are like, well, everyone thinks they're autistic and ADHD now, or everyone thinks they're hypermobile now. I just think we're finally realizing how many people these things affect.
Right.
That we're really studying that.
Just dealt with it before. In some way.
Like, if you had an aunt who only ate jam sandwiches, you weren't like, oh, she's autistic. You're like, that's our aunt who just eats jam sandwiches. And that's like a totally
you autistic. Like, that's behavior. How that happened.
Right.
Right.
So we have labels now, and that can help people get better and more specialized care.
Or at least able to manage.
Right. So I think we just know more. And so everything feels like a pandemic. Because now people are sharing their stories.
Right.
And someone goes, oh, I'm experiencing that and that and that.
Which people got kind of blown off, or it was just like that's so.
And like, wait, someone listened to you and that mattered. Like, I knew the first time I talked to a provider about fibromyalgia that I was going to get blown off. And I went in anyways because I knew that was part of the process. Right. And if I never said anything, then I was never going to believe 10, 12 years later.
Right. So you needed to start.
So you just kind of have to.
Which sucks.
Absolutely. And hopefully we get to a place where the first provider you talk to believes you the first time.
Right. That's a little bit why I make people come and tell their stories.
Right.
So thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So again, and I really appreciate that because I feel like each person has their own little bit of special, and I appreciate that it gives some resources for some others. So
I'm happy to talk about it.
So I feel like you've given lots of really cool gems. Again, some memes I'm probably going to be looking up after this and sharing.
How girls have to.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm totally going to be Googling as soon as we're done. I'm not going to lie. So again, if start a journal, start your symptom thing, whether you use AI, where you do your own thing, have that and again, I usually encourage people to have stuff written down when you go to the doctor. Whether they're in a hurry or not, so that way you have your stuff. Maybe your PT writes you a letter, so you have the things listed, so that when the doctor's questioning you, you're like, here's this. And again, fighting for your healthcare, picking your battles, learning how to modulate.
It stinks having to push back against someone who should be taking care of you. I had to get really good with it with my son, but you have to listen to me. Yeah. Or if not, send me to someone who will. Yeah. And if providing a list of, and one day you'll have one symptom and the next day you won't. And so maybe you don't think it's important, but the blanching of my hands turned out to be one of the most important symptoms. And it was the newest one right before I went. Right. So you never know what's going to be. Write it down. Right. Take evidence.
And I do like that. I mean, it's a sad statement, but that you would think that your doctor's there to help you.
Right.
And they're trying. And again, we're all giving grace.
Right. I'm not saying doctors are bad, but
you do have to fight for yourself.
I mean, there are researchers who research the bias of providers. Like it's.
Yeah. So sometimes the baby doctor.
Right. Sometimes you need the baby doctor.
So maybe we'll end on that today, but thank you again. I really appreciate your story. And again, it's a continued journey, right?
Absolutely.
Continue learning for you, continue learning for me, and we'll be on the journey together.
What did I bring this time?
Yeah, I know. It's always a new surprise. We both get to go on the journey together, but thank you again, Dani, for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. As always, whether we are listening to someone share their expertise in treating an area or just sharing their patient experience, we have also listed any of the resources or how to get hold of the practitioners on the resource page of the website for betterfittherapy.com. Always follow us on social medias, Instagrams, Facebooks for more information. Feel free to reach out or message if you would like to contact or you have additional questions in an area. And again, thank you for listening. We hope that you gained something from today's episode, and we'll see you next time.